What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we are going to be going over cards you should be probably putting on your radar since BT11 is ticking closer and closer every day to being released. So without further ado, let's see what old cards you're going to need for those newer decks, shall we? So first off, boys and girls, the reason why I'm going to bring this up is that covering from set to set, you want to make sure you have your memory boosters. Purple memory boost is good for purple decks. Yellow memory boost good for the yellow decks. Red memory boost good for the red decks, so on and so forth. These cards will always see value. Do you play them in your deck? That's going to be up to you. Depends on how your deck operates and the efficiency it needs. So that's something you just gotta look at as a whole. I mean, even with Black War Greymon, there's two versions. Red version and a black version. You could definitely play the black card, and then the black memory boost becomes more important. But if you're playing the red base, you'll go red memory boost is the more important. So that's just how that's going to balance. Things I also want to bring up is the memory blockers or the level 3 rookies that are just a annoyance factor. So stuff like Chikorimon is good for the Shoutmon matchup. If Shoutmon times 7 or cross 7 gets a little too out of hand, this is a way of mitigating that issue. Then you have like Pokemon that your opponent can't reduce Digievolutions. This is usually good against, let's say, Black War Greymon, because then that Black War Greymon, Metal Greymon, the Black Greymon X into Metal Greymon does get its reduced cost negated. So that means they can't keep it their turn. So it's something to think about, because maybe blue starts sticking this in to negate that interact, because that's a huge negative once it's on the board, especially if they can keep you off your stuff. That might be something to think about. Like, might be a good option there. Mondoki Beta, just for those memory booster negations and stuff like that, really does come in handy. And then like Pumamon, especially against just theme decks or anything that's just going to keep slamming down Digimon through effects of any way to get free bodies on the board, this is a way to negate it. So stuff like that really does come up. And I mean, even with Gaussmon, Gaussmon's a very interesting one, especially in the red cards. If your opponent can't reduce Digievolution, it's fine, but it also gets bigger for the every more Gaussmon you have. So it might be something to look into. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is that there's no real point in putting them in every what you should be grabbing in the multicolors, stuff like that. Just pick up stuff that you think you're going to need for your deck, but these are just general census, like decks play these kind of cards, you know? Then let's get into Phoenixmon decks. So this deck basically is Bird Avian, Beast Digimon. So you want to kind of just have stuff that works with it. So things like the old BT1 Birdramon. This one's on play. Digimon gain security +1 for the turn. Really does help out because your Phoenixmon will be playing one. So that extra security can proceed to do more damage. You know, even getting a tie out is huge. And then you have like Biomon here, which is another bird type. It can be searched by its searcher's effects. And then it just has the on-deletion gaming memory, so if it swings in, you get an extra little bit of extended play. Rise Greymon's in here for that. Playing a tame card, it will let you tie. Your, Phoenixmon main can play, Tai and Kari, which will help extend your play, because that's what you're going to use this for. Blitz Omni for games if you need it. Sunrise Buster, just because it's such a great, powerful removal spell, and it's at 1, but hey, that'll work. Then you have like regular Beom. So when attacking, when this Digimon attacks a player, draw a card. Especially since you can't use all your on deletions, this can at least get you that draw that you need to keep yourself in the game. So that's kind of just where the red base package for the Phoenixmon deck / Marsmon deck is going. And then we do have Shoutmon. Shoutmon times 7 is the new deck. You did at one time have Mervamon as an option, and that was you would use ×4 plus ×3, just sit out and gotta go fast. which you would combo in with Gravity Crush and Blinding Ray with the Mervamon deck to extend your plays and get your bodies out, and then just end up punching your opponent in the face so quickly your opponent has no time to respond. I mean, all in all, with Crossheart in any capacity, because you are going to be using ×3 here, because ×4 is strict, you're going to need cards that are going to help you do this. You know, ×7, most of the support is in the set, but except for, you know, Ballista, Duelist, Starmon, and Sparrowmon, which you definitely need. Let me grab Sparrow. I forgot. Sparrowmon! There we go. And then, I think I forgot also ×5. There we go. So now we have the whole family. So, all in all, you want to pick up this if you're going to play the Crossheart deck. It's relatively cheap to get most of these cards anyway because of their rarity and everything like that. I mean, Gravity Crush and Blinding Ray are depending on what you want to do with your deck, especially since Black Greymon going to do Black War Greymon things and kill off your Tamers. Sometimes you just need a way of extending your plays by just gaining extra memory by paying costs that you don't mind. And Hero of the Skies just for security +1 and draw cards. I mean, hey, that works. And then we know what the Tamers do. Basically, you want Zendro and Kari. You might not want Kiriha anymore because of the new Kiriha, Nene, and Taiki card. That combination with the white, that white card, extends your plays and gets you further. And it's a 4 cost, so Black War Greymon can't just easily delete your Digimon. And on top of that, the Tamer. So they have to select and pick and choose. So I think that's not a bad trade-off here. I think this is mostly what you want to pick up. Then we have Black War Greymon himself, the X-Antibody deck. We know what it does. You're going to need Black War Greymon at 2. The reason why we have this promo Black War Greymon is there is a Digiburst version of the deck where this lets you help TK your opponent in a different way. This applies pressure that way because you build up such a big stack, and you, as you remove sources from in, you're still big until, you know, the final swing. So that's just kind of how that goes, and that's usually a black base theme. So you would use like BT8 plus Ludamon because that helps put Digimon underneath, which helps out, especially since your big Digimon will be red/black. And then, you know, the normal other packages are there. People will play Koromon or this Koromon because of the DP boost, or they'll do it for the draw advantage, which they do need. Then you have Searcher, the Agumon X antibody. You're always going to need these for the red base at least. And then red base does play this Agumon for the extra 2,000. Greymon blockers just needed until we get to 12. This Greymon just for good power boosting, and that Evo chance is good. Then you have Greymon with a security +1. Then you have, you know, the bread and butter, the Metal Greymon that digivolve your opponent's Digimon, and then you just laugh at them. And then, you know, Metal Greymon Alterius mode. Omnimon X Antibody is going to be Omnimon X Antibody. Blitz Omni is Blitz Omni. You're going to need X Antibody, of course, because the deck revolves around X Antibody, and Cool Boy, heavily. So just stuff to look at there. Then we're going to talk about All Force V Dramon. So why we're talking about All Force here is basically there's 3 lines of play with All Force this set, but also I have Mirage Galgamon because the Leomon base that you would use in Leomon All Force, you use the same kind of cards anyway for that deck. So it's just good to just get in your mindset that the Leomon deck can either go All Force route or Mirage Galga. So depending on how you want to build it, that Leomon builds like that. Or you can go straight up pure All Force, which is using all these guys, you know, the Vmon line, the Gabumon line, this Gabumon here to help grab Tamers and stuff like that. The hybrid base is just blue hybrid with All Force as another N, because then you can use your Tamers actually as sources to go up. I mean, even with the limitation of Tommy at 1, you can still go up and just do some crazy shenanigans there. Just all in all, good stuff here. I have no objections. I mean, you know, you got Jerry here to be comboing with the Leomon stuff. You have Koji and Tommy to be all about the hybrid shenanigans that'll lead up to that. Or you just go pure Vmon with just a small Leomon package, which you just play Jerry and Leomon, and that kind of adds into more synergy. You're going to need Davis. And of course, if you are playing the Vmon deck stuff, grab your ties here. They're going to be viable. And I mean, you're always going to play at least one Kumamon in any of the versions of the deck, just because Kumamon's just evolving on top of your tamer since you play heavy amounts. But all in all, you're going to see this deck play fine. The thing about the Pangemon stuff, we do get a new Pangemon in this set that allows you to basically have full access to the X antibody now. And this now combos extremely well. The new one plays a tamer, which can lead to being more crazy shenanigans. So all in all, I think this is pretty solid here. I have no objections on what blue has. I mean, All Force and Mirage Galga, like I said, they play the same exact way. They have the same exact, just how their top ends differ a little bit. And I didn't really want to make a separate video for, well, separate grab cards in that. So I think all in all, just picking up like the older Vmons here, these ones like the starter deck Vmon, and never going to go wrong. EX1 Gabumon is always going to be viable for the deck, how it plays. Leomon's just in there for that on deletion, gating the memory. Lobomon, hybrid shenanigans. And we already talked about most of the other stuff here. So nothing too terrible on that aspect. Now let's get into blue hybrid itself. Well, not blue hybrid. We're going to talk about none other than the King of the Ring, Blue Flare. Just kidding. So Blue Flare gets Z Greymon as its new top end. Boss Digimon, it finally has a very powerful top end. And that really does help out because now you can combo in and use like Metal Greymon X Antibody on top of your Metal Greymon, which now applies pressure because now you don't have to fully rely on this Greymon here. As long as you have enough memory to do, you know, Metal Greymon here, or if it's stuck a full turn, you can instantly go into this Metal Greymon X Antibody, get the extra security check in, free evolve, you know, get another draw, and then Z can restand on top of it for a 1 cost as long as your opponent has 2 Digimon on play. But that's just fine. I think all in all, the deck has a lot of potential, and you're going to want anything that's labeled Blue Flare. And as I mentioned before, the Modoki Betas and Sayoko is very important, especially slows down your opponent a lot. You know, and it doesn't really have any backup rookie at the moment. It does and it doesn't. It has Dracmon as a new card, but outside of that, it's still going to be playing its good stuff. And you want Solrai here just because it's a good option, especially if they hit it in security. You got like Kiriha, Sora, and Joe. All the good stuff. And then let's get into the King Poop himself, King Sukamon. So, Sukamon. King Sukamon here is if your opponent has 16 or more cards in their trash, or if you have 3 or more cards with Sukamon in their name in your trash, one of your opponent's Digimon becomes a Sukamon White 3000 DB until the end of opponent's turn. So this will help you out. We already know what we want with him. He's going to be built around building poop. So cards that you want to keep an eye on is like Crest, because he can, if your opponent goes wide enough, you can check the top and maybe hit a King Sukamon yourself, spit it out, and get free value off of that. That's really important. I mean, even playing Edamon because he's a blocker, but his on death lets you play a Metal Edamon, which this deck plays Metal Edamon. That's another option. I mean, Omnimon Ultra S, just for dealing with wide boards. Sword Defeat, if they hit this in security, this comes out to a body that can come into a merciful mode. I mean, it's never terrible that way. You have like Pogmon here, just for normal shenanigans. You know, like I mentioned before, Chumon's just very useful. Help de-digivolve your opponent's threats. Sukamon, especially from BT3, revealing the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play 1 Chumon among them without paying its memory costs. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. So you can hit some Chumons, you get some free value. Himikawa here, just basically, since you are a 2-color deck, you can use this to basically reduce its Digi-Evolution cost, which is not bad. And then you have like TK, being TK, searching out pieces because they are yellow pieces. Then you do have Tide just to make your black Digimon a little bit beefier. So I think that's just good pickups here. They're not overly expensive, but the deck shouldn't be that expensive even in the first place. Excuse me, I saw that. Then we do have Digimon. So when Digivolve, you know the drill with him. He's Tamer reliant, green Tamer base. So the more value you can get out of your green tamers, a lot of the support is in the main set. You play Rusty Boy with the deck, but you want to use like Togemon just to help search for pieces, Betamon to help search for a level 4 card and a green tamer. It helps search your tamers out. Tenemon helps you get your boosts for the turn until the new Tenemon comes out in BT12. You got Mimi because Mimi's such a powerful tamer. Zenjiro, if you combo Zenjiro, you're going to play Ballistamon. And it's not a bad trade-off. I think having Zenjiro plus Ballistamon is just a good deal. And then we do have Ken here just for the memory setting, but also if you're able to delete Digimon, you can suspend Ken and extend your plays. Izzy and Mimi just for any generic green shenanigans you want. That's just me. You have like regular Izzy for when your opponent becomes suspended. You may suspend this tamer, gain 1 memory. You can also use this for, you know, the Hercules Kabuterimon X antibody if you wanted to. Same thing with TK and Izzy. This one's used in both decks, so not a bad trade-off. I think TK and Izzy are just really good, especially if you have a level 5 or higher and they have one. You're extending your plays by a lot. And then let's take a look at Machine Dramon. So we know what Machine Dramon does for a while now. He's gotten some good new support, especially in this set. So we're going to be playing a lot of Cyborg Digimon as is. You know, major, you want to have Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon. It helps out, especially if you hit this in security. It does a lot of damage, in my opinion. So where did it go? So you want to make sure you have this. This is basically your bread and butter option. You know, you can use Ultimate Connection, not a bad trade-off. You have like Kazu here, just being Kazu. Then you have Hero being Hero. I mean, good tamers picks there. Nothing too crazy out of the ordinary. What is very interesting, a lot of decks started playing is the Durimon, because what you would do is go into Duromon with Duri, and then when you go into this Machine Dramon, you get to put stuff underneath which trigger their skills. Even if it dies later, it's not a bad trade-off. I mean, you have so much potential. You know, like Mega Dramon has blocker. You know, this one's going to give you the ability to attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. Mega Dramon's going to be able to pop 3-cost tamers, which helps against the cool boys. I mean, you can play Cyber Dramon to de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, which can lead to being some very powerful plays there. I mean, you get blocker with Androidmon. You get reboot with Metal Tyranno. Metal Mama basically lets you delete one of your opponent's champions, which isn't bad, or rookies or lower. So I think there's a lot of potential, especially even with Volcanomon giving the extra security check, Metal Greymon giving piercing, Mega Dramon the extra security, Metal Greymon, when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted, gain a memory. Mega Dramon, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. So, I mean, all in all, you know what you're trying to get into. Gardramon's just basically in here for that blocker, but also for evolving and raising as you climb up. Mechanori just for added defense security. Tank Dramon's just for that 1-cost evolve. Sometimes that helps early game choke. And then you have Haguramon just for on-playing, that drawing the card. You really need a lot of draw value in this deck because you can lead to being very choked out and in top deck mode for most of your matches. Then we do have Justimon. What am I talking about? Justimon isn't really competitive. Oh, yes, it is. Justimon has basically an OTK version. It has 2 versions going about right now. One that's stack reliant, and then the other one is very option reliant. So basically what you'll do is Justy Kick to spam out your, you know, Justimon, and it can pop something in the trade-off. And this gets cheaper for every tamer you have, so you combo it with Mimi to lower the cost. Basically for every Mimi you have, that's 2 for the price of 1. That is really nuts for this card. So this becomes, with 4 Mimis out, that's 8 memory down. It becomes a 4 cost. That's crazy to me. So it's something to really keep on your radar. And some people are teching in the red stuff to be instead, just so they have more value with their options lines. So you could do that as well, especially with Hero. It gives your Justimon more power. You got like TK and Izzy, because if you're higher, you extend your plays that way. And especially minusing your DP of one of your opponent's Digimon, really useful. You have like Kazu to help you draw. Then you have Rio, is basically reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Drawmon or Justimon in its name among them to your hand, place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. When you attack with a black Digimon, you may suspend this tamer to have that gain 1000 DP for the turn. Izzy and Joe, just extending your plays by memory gain. And then basically any option you think is relevant is going to help you out. I mean, Mon is in here just for if you go for the stack builds, then you want like Monodramon and Sunriza, but these aren't really needed if you're not playing that. So that's kind of what you have to really take with this, is that certain things are going to be valued to you depending on how you want to build the deck. If you build stack Justy, it's a different story. But if you go for Justy Kick, option heavy, Nightmares fuel when your opponent hits into their security, the likelihood of them hitting a security that they're not going to like, higher than ever. So that's just something to look at. And then Venmon. This is Venmon's support. So what am I talking about Venmon here for? Let me show you. So let me pull up the Venny Boy. So Venmon, Galacticmon. Basically, you get a bunch of these. It extends your plays. It fills up room. You want to have stuff that gets in the trash, so you play Applied Memory Boost for it. Iron Fist Onslaught just to help negate what your opponent's trying to do. Ultimate Flare, same thing. Durimon, because Venmon will put stuff underneath, which triggers him, because as long as it's put underneath this Digimon, you draw a card. So you have no ejections there. Then you have like Death X, being Death X. Tai to help make your Digimon beefier so they can't just swing over it very easily. Analog Youth being Analog Youth. So all in all, there's nothing too crazy about this deck. It's kind of set in stone because Venmon, you have to play a high count of Venmon to actually play the deck. So that's just how that goes. Then, you know, Bagra Army itself. Anything that is labeled Bagra Army, you're playing with that deck. Now, Buzzfist, you're going to definitely need for the deck. And you is basically the bread and butter tamer. You need it if you're going to play Bagra Army. You know the drill here. And then Sonic Birdmon from BT10 really helps you out. And then you have Analog Youth to help you out, dig a little deeper. So anything with Bagra Army, if you're going to play Bagra Army, you want it. So luckily, there isn't a lot of cards that you go out of the archetype because it is heavily restricted to Bagra. So it's one of those decks you need to just hyper focus on the one. Then we have Mastemon. Mastemon has kind of like two ways of playing this deck, and that is, you know, the drill here. You know, Mastemon's just going to do what she wants. You can go either one of two routes, kind of like a mid-range strategy, or just a little more heavier on the control aspect, which you use like Lucamon, Chaos Modes, and, you know, the other Lucamon to help speed up your recovery and just keep you in the game because you use Dead and Alive. Plus your other, you know, Flame Hell Scythe, plus Chaos Degradation is just all good stuff going around. I mean, Odenimon, Zwart Defeat, Death X is all you kind of expect. You'll be playing like Ophanimon Fall Down to recover you and then delete stuff. And then just because you need it. Just a good card in general, especially Spicy One of. This is very likely. You have like Magna Angemon for that recovery. We have May Crack Vicious Mode. Basically, you may trash one card from your hand. If you trash a purple card, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. If you trash the yellow, your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. Not bad. It's a very powerful removal. You know, starter deck Lady Devi kind of phases out a little bit, but you want to probably have it. Gatomon's Gatomon. You're going to need it if you're playing this deck. Neo Devi's Neo Devi. It's a spicy tech card. Black Gato is another spicy tech card. Meikumon, spicy tech card. There's no reason not to. Eismon Scouter mode is just Eismon Scouter mode. Salamon. You know the drill here. Devi Marimon's usually the hyper focus on Digitama, and you use Nerumon as just basically a draw one on certain circumstances. But you have like Ophanimon, Odenimon, sorry, that you're going to really want to focus on. A special one of is not a bad deal. So that's Mastemon. And then finally, the last deck, Minerva. Especially if you're going to be playing Minervamon, you want to make sure you have the Cerberus Mons because the loop is still live and active. Especially how this plays. It's never a bad trade-off. I think all in all, the deck has potential, but it still fails in comparison because everyone just plays Hide and Raising now. It is really 9.75 at this point meta. It has not changed, and we're still in OTK format. And it's getting scary because if they don't do something quick, all these new decks become irrelevant because of how much we have to just be playing the OTKs against OTKs. It gets really tiring. But, you know, Mimi is just a good value card because of all the options you're playing. Sora and Mimi, just because the extent, if your opponent doesn't have a level 4 or lower Digimon, gain 2 memory, helps extend your plays. Pendium Flame, basically an easy pop trade-off from MyNervamon to get a body out, and then just delete something in theirs. Calling from Darkness, you know the drill here, just get pieces back. Revival from Darkness, you know what you're doing here. Another card you probably want to pick up is Back from Revenge. Back. There we go. Back for Revenge. So, basically another card that if you use this before you decide to pop your MyNervamon, you'll get free value out of it because it'll come back. Just a lot of crazy shenanigans there. You know, tape your Mon all day long. Gabumon is just basically for the Eismon combo. You go Demi Mirror, Gabu, Eismon. It dies. Congratulations, you draw a bunch. So it fuels your graveyard and gets your hand kind of fixed pretty quickly. And then you have just regular Eismon so that when you do discard it with Scatter Mode's effect, or when a Scatter Mode is in there and you discard it, it comes out and just gets you from there. And you know the drill with Cerberus Werewolf mode. You're going to be deleting your Cerberusmon just to go for that draw 2 and gain 9 memory. And if you do it with Revival of Darkness, it gains you 5 memory back after using it. Not a bad trade-off in my opinion. So, guys, what did you think of my picks? Would you have picked anything different, or did I miss a card? Let me know down in the comments. Hopefully you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace!